see my fire dragon?
I was noticing that.
Cool
That's
dragon,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not even mine.
It is now.
That's what I said.
Welcome to Willow's Pillow Talk. I am Willow Schuyler. With me today are, and of course my cats are starting to get all riled up. So if you guys hear some meowing in the background, just ignore that.
It's probably me.
With me today is Brian K. Morris and Mckayla Jade. I appreciate you guys coming on my show. We've been hanging around with each other in Brian's show for the last 2 months now.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I believe that's how it. I met you through the people that I broadcast with, and you guys have quite the community that you built. I would tell me about your show, Brian.
Well, unaccustomed as I am about talking about myself, my shows are, never mind the furthermore, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central, where it's an interactive conversation show. You show up, you type stuff into your browser, and I read it, and we reply to each other. It's a fun show. Also, a Clever Title Pending every Tuesday, where we interview people, much like what's happening now, and where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. And we just had a great talk with gamer, writer, illustrator Nick Tockert, and this week, this coming Tuesday, we're going to be talking to Bobby Nash and Jim Beard, two very highly respected writers in the new pulp community. So, and those guys know how to talk. So basically, I'm going to introduce them and go out for pizza. You won't miss me. But anyway, tune into the show. We're going to have fun.
Mckayla, tell me about how you became an author and.
Oh, Lord.
You know, it's a good story when it starts with, oh, Lord.
Yeah, here we go. So, I've always been a writer. I've always written. In fact, the first book that I have out, Warrior Secret, was always the book, is what it was always called. Because I started it when I was like 13, 14, maybe younger. And it just was this story where I could escape. And so I wrote it, and that was my escape. That was my little get out of reality free card. So I started writing when I was really young, but then I got into writing because my sister-in-law says, why isn't this published? And I went, well, I don't have a clue how to do that. I thought you had to get an agent. You had to write a query letter to the agent. Then the agent would find your publisher, and then the publisher may or may not take your book. Then I found out that's not how you have to do it. Because I was looking for writer groups in my area, and I found Writers on the River. And I thought, oh, good, I'll get to meet some writers. Well, you do, but that's not what it was. It was a book signing. And I was like, oh, okay, a book signing. What's this all about? And that's where I met Linda Cox and Amy Hale. And Amy Hale, I met Brian. And the rest, as they say, is history.
And she's never forgiven Amy for it. So.
Never.
No, Amy's got a lot to answer for.
So, Brian, you started up your own publishing company.
Yes.
How did you go about doing that?
I just basically said one day, hey, I've got a publishing company. No, what happened was... I've been a storyteller since I was like a child, and eventually working my way up to wanting to become a professional writer. And I lost my job back in 2012. I was doing a fantastic job, but saving everyone my anti-corporate rant, because it didn't happen to just me. It happened to 24 other people in the state that day. But I was put together with, as part of my package when I left, I was put together with a reemployment agency. And they test you, what's your aptitude? And like, I took one of those aptitude tests, and they said, you should be a writer. And I'm like, duh, I could have told you that and saved 2 hours out of my existence. But anyway, the lady I worked with, who I'm still friends with even after this time, she pointed me towards a webinar they were having on electronic publishing. And I knew about ebooks from my wife having a Kindle and all, but I sat in on this, and I had a moment akin to religious conversion. All I saw was possibility. And I wasn't even thinking, profit. I wasn't thinking in terms of money, but I had stories I wanted to tell. And, I also thought of it as a way I could help other people to achieve their writing dreams as well. And so I just got myself fully into it. And after 8 years, I now not only have my own company, Amazon and Smashwords, hashtag always promote. But I counsel with a lot of people. I am hooked up with a fantastic set of friends that you can call them your network, your tribe, or whatever. But they're my peeps, and Mckayla's a very big part of that. And it's just incredible existence that I wouldn't have had any other way. Met some of the most amazing people and creative people, and it just fires me up every day to sit down at the typewriter and try to keep up with them.
That's awesome. Well, we got some people in the chat. We got Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Good evening,
Hiya, Carl.
Carleen.
Hello.
These are all pretty much all people that I hang out with in your shows as well.
All the troublemakers.
They'll follow you anywhere.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. We had comments before the show even started.
That's our people.
Then we got Ryan Permisson.
We're great, Ryan. How are you today?
Hey, Ryan.
Good to see you.
Thank you for the share. Awesome. Apparently, I dressed up as Negan without even thinking about it. I call it the basic white girl thing because, it's fall. We're actually getting really nice weather where I'm at. It's been really, the snow has melted. And, yeah, it's weird. I think we're due for a snowstorm, though.
That's enough out of you. That's enough out of you.
Enough of that F word.
Yeah, really. Wash your mouth out with soap, young lady.
You feel that way too, eh?
I have felt that way ever since Dad said, it's your turn now. You shovel the walk. So it's like, screw that, Dad. I'm out of here.
I don't mind it as long as I don't have to work. I'm fine.
Now, we're gonna have an interesting show with this guy around.
Oh, hell. Christian Basil, HR is waiting. Christian Basil to HR.
Good to see you around. Okay, so Ryan with a good question. Favorite books and writers growing up? That's for either one of you.
Well, I'll excuse myself because I never really truly grew up. Otherwise I'd have a real job. No, anyway, I'll start it and give Mckayla a little time here. One of my favorite book, in fact, the first grown-up book I ever read was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And I still, to this day, absolutely adore that book. I also liked books like the old Robert Heinlein space opera I read when I was, not even a teenager yet. That kindled my love of science fiction. And then I started reading things like Martin Caidin, who wrote a book called Cyborg, which was turned to a TV show called $6 Million Man. Also did a Gregory Peck movie called Marooned about a moon flight that has to be rescued. And the problems with doing so. And I got into a lot of the science writers like Michael Crichton and such. Robert E. Howard for Sword and Sorcery, and which led to H.P. Lovecraft and August Derleth. And then Harlan Ellison, of course, one of the greatest wordsmiths I think this country has ever produced. So those were some of my favorite books. Also, the action adventure novels of the 70s, Mac Bolan by Don Pendleton, The Executioner, or Remo Williams, The Destroyer by Richard Sapir and Warren Murphy. A lot of great authors like that. Those were some of my favorites when I was developing as a writer. And I'm still finding people that inspire me as far as technique and such. So it's changing. If you ask me my favorite writers, it will probably change about an hour after the show is over, because I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention him or her. So yeah.
Good, because I was going to say about the same thing. I'm like, well, right now it's a lot of Christine Feehan, but I read and I watch a lot of documentaries, which blows people's minds. But a lot of the books I read are historical. They're historical fact, or historical fact taken from someone's point of view. So, or it's romance. There's no in between. I guess that's where I come in. I write the in between.
Well, that's one of the nice things about what we do, is that people like Mckayla and myself, we don't really fit in any one niche really comfortably. That we bring in a variety of styles. A lot of my stuff is like new pulp, really, as far as my writing style goes. And I'm pleased. I admire many of the people in that field currently. But the fact is, we're both self-publishers, and where that used to be considered kind of a like where people with no talent but a little bit of money went to produce their work, now it has turned into a place where anyone can have a voice. The process of printing has actually become democratized. And, all the secrets of marketing and editing and production now are, out in the wild, and any of us can access that and take advantage of it.
And you guys take part in the Nanowrimo, National Novel Writing Month.
Yes.
And how is that helping you guys build up your own novels?
I'm still trying to log in. It still won't let me in. So I'm the bad kid. I can't even get in.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Just drop my name.
I mean, I don't know that it would help me at all anyway, because I write when I can, as much as I can. If I've got an afternoon, I'm going to write like crazy. If I've got 10 minutes, you're going to get 10 minutes of writing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm doing it right now. I did it last year, and I got a really good first draft of a book that I'll be polishing the first quarter of 2021. But for me, it gives me a focus where I can safely say, okay, this one project I am sticking with, because I have the attention span of a mayfly. And every squirrel, every shiny, it's a potential rabbit hole that I can plummet into. And also I can tell my friends, I'm doing NaNoWriMo, get off the phone. Don't call me. I'm going to let the emails pile up, screw y'all. I'm busy. So then I can play computer games all day. I mean, write as much as possible. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious, what games do you play?
Right now, I don't play that many, and I don't play, video games per se, but I use it as a reward for meritorious behavior. Let's say I write, 500 words, and, I'm like, well, good on me. And so I might sit down and play, like I've got a Sudoku game I play, or what else do I have? I'm currently catching up with Injustice and Injustice 2, the DC online game.
Okay.
Which these are my peeps. I grew up loving and still do love comic books. In fact, I write comic books as well as novels and short stories. And so it's kind of fun to see all my favorite heroes punching the crap out of each other, and I get points for it. So.
How do you keep yourself on target with your goals?
For me,
Either one of you.
For me, it's just in my head. I like to procrastinate, and I figured out that if I procrastinate, I do a better job. So I have also figured out that if I can't get all my household chores done or my to-do list done, I won't focus on writing. So it has to be done, and then I can write like crazy, but that has to be done first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a house husband, this is my full-time gig. And so I've got to keep the house up here, the lawn mowing and all, and take out the trash and stuff. But what keeps me on target are deadlines. I have a newspaper background, and I'm one of those guys that always was and still do. If my thing is due at 5, I'm usually going to start at 4:45 and hope for the best, and let adrenaline and hopefully a certain amount of training take me the rest of the way. But yeah, I give myself goals. I give myself rewards for it, like benchmarks. If I get, like, say, if I make my 1,700 words for NaNoWriMo, then maybe I'll do something really nice for myself later. I'm actually a day behind in my quota due to other things that I'm doing, like broadcasting. No, I'm not assigning blame.
This is not a distraction at all.
No, this isn't. No. Actually, this is a fun this is a reward. This is a reward. All right, let's get that straight. But no, I do have trouble focusing, and so I have to give myself, a certain amount of guidance. I can only work on one project at a time, really. And I've got to stop saying yes to everyone that offers me stuff, because that's one thing about this writing gig, even the self-publishing thing, because I tell people this is not just, representation of my creativity, available on Amazon and Smashwords, but it's also hashtag always promote. But it is also my business card. And I've written a couple books that have gotten me a lot of writing gigs. And so, you parlay your credits into, other areas where you can spread your name out and get more influence that way and more followers. So There's a writing tip for everyone.
Sorry, wow, brain. How much input do you have with the creative process of your cover art?
I have all kinds of input now, but the first one I didn't. Because it went through the publisher, I had almost zero say in it, but it ended up really well. It wasn't what I pictured, but it ended up really well. I liked it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and as for myself, I art direct the heck out of things. I go in usually knowing what I want my cover to look like, and then it becomes a collaboration between me and the cover artist, in that I am willing to listen to better ideas, but at the same time, I do have an idea of what I would like to see. So, it's a sharing kind of thing. It isn't me cracking the whip and saying it absolutely has to be done my way. I love great surprises. In fact, the book I showed you earlier, Santa Sign, I gave the artist Trevor Eric Hawkins an idea of what I wanted to see, and he submitted that cover. I have no recollection of what I asked him for, because this was perfect. This was so much better than my original idea. But then I have other books where I'm like, okay, I need the color to be this. Screw your color theory. It needs to be this color because, and I've got a reason. It's not just Brian digging his heels in the sand and saying I'm the boss. No, if I want a bright, shiny cover, I want a bright, shiny cover, and here's why. So that's part of the collaboration. I don't dig my heels in often, fortunately, but I'm also just smart enough to know to listen to people that know more about the art process than I do, which is just about everybody.
Ryan actually has an interesting question. Any character you want to write for? Example, The Shadow. Have you guys, like, Mckayla, have you wanted to write for comic books at all?
Not really comic books, but the show from the 80s, The Gargoyles.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That is an awesome show.
Love that show.
My dude has wings. That's why.
Nice.
Goliath was my guy. Like, Alicia Maza, get the hell out. Goliath is my dude.
Now I'm curious if you wrote any fanfic of Gargoyles.
I thought about it because I didn't know what fanfic was, but now that I do, I'm like, oh, let me in here. Let me do this. So it probably will happen in the future.
It's funny, like early '90s, well, okay, in the '90s, around the time where X-Men was becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember writing several fanfics, or the beginning writing fanfics of X-Men, and not really realizing that fanfic was a thing back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a huge thing, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to post my stuff up right now, because fanboys and fangirls are the worst over the internet.
That's what I hear. So if I ever do it, I'm going to have to do a real good job.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I could do a real good job with Goliath. Ooh.
And Brian, because you like comic books, I know you have a comic book.
I have a few, actually. I've written for other people. I published one of my own about 2.5 years ago. But to get to that very excellent question, I would love to write Doctor Who.
Oh.
What?
I know you're shocked, Mckayla. I wait till you're sitting down.
The fez is not tilted.
Yeah, not a giveaway at all, is it? No. No, I'm Uncle What's His Name from Gravity Falls. Yeah, go figure. No. I've loved Doctor Who for since 1980. And I'm a huge fanboy for it. And I actually have written quite a bit of fan fiction, but I never put it out. Just like Mckayla said, I didn't want to have to deal with my critics because I don't deal with it well, mostly in terms of retaliation. But the nice thing about what I do and getting to know people in our peer group is that I've been offered the chance to write other characters. For instance, Charles F. Milhouse has a fantastic character he created about 20 years ago called Captain Hawkland, which is kind of a love letter to the old Doc Savage books of the 30s through the 50s. And he invited me to write an episode of Captain Hawkland for his brand new pulp reality book coming out in December. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this thing. And then I've had a couple other friends who I can't say about anything else about it, but because we haven't finalized things yet, but they said, well, would you like to write this one character that you said you like so much? And I'm like,
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, and the spittle coming out of the corners of my mouth, and I'm like, yeah. So yes, I'm going to be playing with other people's properties.
Properties.
Properties. I chose my word carefully. What's the rating on this show again? But anyway,
it is uncensored. Don't be who you are.
Okay.
Don't be afraid.
Here we go. No, get ready to melt your earwax. But anyway, no, I'm getting this opportunity, and I know how protective people are. I am with my own stuff of their intellectual properties, and to be offered the opportunity, I'm like, this is just if it gets any better than this, God kept it for himself. That's the way I think of it. So yeah, that's my detail. Plus I do write comics and I use a lot of public domain characters. And because I just love how primal some of them are in concept. And it's kind of fun to not throw out the aspects that made them unique, but still use storytelling techniques so that a current generation can appreciate them. So that's my challenge there.
That's a good way of looking at it. Well, Christian's actually being pretty good right now.
The day isn't over.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good question. I like this. What is your favorite monster?
I don't know if I have a favorite monster.
I do.
Oh.
Go for it.
You want me to go?
Yeah, please.
Go for it.
No,
Oh.
Predator. Good choice.
He's
Good
sexy.
He's
got some badass weapons. I mean, come on. Not those weapons.
I didn't say a thing, darling. I didn't say a thing.
Yes,
I was thinking it awful loud.
You said it with your face.
I know. My favorite monster is Of course, you'd think Frankenstein, the Frankenstein monster, but I don't see him as a monster. I see him more as a victim. I think my favorite monster is probably, though, because I have such a Jones for the old Universal horror monsters, because those were the horror movies of my youth.
Yeah.
The Wolfman, Lawrence Talbot. There again, there is a story of a man with a curse, and he really can't do anything productive with it. It is something where he has to set himself aside from society to protect people around him, and he's helpless in the light of this terrible lycanthropy he's got. And Lon Chaney Jr. just did such an amazing job bringing this out in the old films that even to this day, it's almost you empathize with him so much, and it hurts, to see all that he's going through. So that's probably my favorite monster. Godzilla is a really close second, though, because I love the kaiju stuff. Because he's big and stumpy and hits things and breathes radioactive fire. Who doesn't like that?
It's really hard to say what my favorite monster is. There's so many. Like, I love the classic movie monsters. The Mummy was the one that scared the crap out of me as a kid, but I grew to love them all.
Mm-hmm.
Boris Karloff will always be like that actor that set the bar way too high for everybody to follow.
Oh my God, yes, yeah, he was an amazing actor, and I've just recently been studying some of the work of Vincent Price.
Yes,
another top actor, and it's like, such incredible talent. And then even when you see their stuff, like when they're doing a lot of television in the 60s, that is just dumber than hell. And like I just recently rewatched the episodes of Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward with Vincent Price as Egghead, and it's a fun show. And Price is just that could have been such a stupid performance from anyone else, but Price pulls it off with such elan that you just have to admire him wading through all those excellent puns that he was doing with the character. So those are, I agree with you, those are my choices too.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, there's something about the 66 Batman that has so much characters, and I love the 66 Batman.
I do too.
The car itself is really sexy, and I was lucky enough to meet the guy who built the 66 Batman.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like had to have been at least 4 years before his death. He came to Winnipeg, and I'm just like, I looked on the table with all the pictures. I'm just like, I like them all.
I'm doing my ceiling on them, yeah.
There's another question from Ryan. Any authors you want to meet or work with in the future?
Ooh.
Yeah. The list is long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, seriously.
I have been lucky enough to work with my mentor. She reached out to me and she said, listen, I have this story and it'll never see the light of day unless you touch it. And I said, why? And she said, it's not in my wheelhouse, but it's just something I played with. And I said, okay, give it here. So she took it. And then, like Brian always promote, let's see here. I got it right here. Obsidian Hearts.
That's
so that was published. There's 2 more to come with that. I was floored. But yeah, I'd love to work with somebody like, and I don't even read his genre, but I would love to work with somebody like Stephen King or Neil Gaiman, just because I've listened to some of their advice on life, on writing. Oh my God, I would love to work with these guys. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your gateway story that got you hooked and made you realize that you wanted to be a writer?
For me, it was, I read a lot of Cassie Edwards back in the day, because that's what my aunt and my mom had. They had the romance books of hers. And I read it and I thought, I can write this. I so can write this. So yeah, it was probably those. It wasn't that she wrote badly. It was she wrote stories that I loved, and I went, wait, people like this stuff? I can write this stuff. I didn't know anybody but me liked Native Americans and the Old West, and that's what Cassie wrote. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I can do that. Yeah. So I did that.
Wow. I'm trying to think. I think the one writer, if I have to narrow it down to one, who made me want to be a writer was Stan Lee.
Oh.
Stan Lee, of course, I grew up on the early Marvel comics. Close second would probably be Gardner Fox, who was writing like The Flash and the Justice League of America. And it created so many, and Adam Strange, a great science fiction comic. But Stan, I don't think gets enough credit for how much information he packs into a very small amount of space. And he also knew enough of his craft that he could bring out the best in other writers as an editor, as well as, just take a pedestrian story and still make it shine. And then when you combine him with an artist who is exceptional, like a Jack Kirby or a Steve Ditko, Don Heck, John Buscema, and there's just like this magic that happens that, especially with comics where they become bigger than, larger than the sum of their parts, that there's something going on that pushes them to do even better work with the right person. So I'd have to say it was Stan, and I was privileged enough to meet him a couple of times.
Nice.
Yeah.
I missed several opportunities to go see him, unfortunately, and he only came to Winnipeg once, and that was in the early 90s, and of course I had no freaking clue. But yeah, he came to Calgary a couple times, and it's like, traveling and money is one of the things that I barely have and do. So, but no, I lived through the stories vicariously.
I'll have to tell you my Stan Lee story sometime then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he threatened to sue me. It was great.
Oh no.
Well, should I go into it then?
Go for it.
Okay, I don't mean to suck all the oxygen out of the room. I just do. But anyway, but no. This was 1976, and Marvel Comics had launched a faux presidential campaign for Howard the Duck. Okay. And so I painted this T-shirt, which I still own, by the way. And it was Howard the Duck standing on a red, white, and blue version of Virgin.
Oh, okay, Virgin.
No, I wasn't getting self-referential. I wasn't getting self-referential at the time. I was a lonely boy. But anyway, I had Howard the Duck standing on his slogan, "Get Down in America, Get Down America," in red, white, and blue, and he's doing like the Nixon thing with the three-fingered hands and all. And I found out that Stan Lee was going to be like in Indianapolis, which was at the time was like an hour and a half from me. And I'm like, Mom, I'm living at home. And I say, Mom, I'm going to go see him. And she's like, yeah, go see him. I know you love Stan. I'm like, yeah, I meet Stan. So I thought, I'm going to put on this shirt. I'm going to impress the hell out of him. And so I go up to him, and he looks at me and gives me that Stan smile and goes, hey there, true believer. He did talk like that. And he goes, where'd you get the shirt? And I said, well, sir, I made it, Stan. And he's like, oh, really? How many did you make? And I'm like, just this one, Stan. Well, really? Well, how many have you sold? And like, none. This is the only one. And he kept interrogating me like a lawyer and, getting me down to how many I'd sold, given away, had printed, etc. And finally, I'm like, Stan, this is the only one I'm ever going to make. This was a pain in the ass to do. I'm never going to make this shirt again. Trust me, this is the only one in existence. If something happens to it, there'll be none. Okay? This is it. And he gave me that beautiful smile of his, and he looked at me and said, I'm glad you said that, true believer, because otherwise I'd have to sue your ass off.
Oh my God.
And so I'm calling my mother from the convention. I'm like, and the thing is after that, Stan and I had a wonderful series of conversations when we'd run into each other, and he didn't treat me like some drooling fanboy because he didn't want to belabor the obvious. He treated me like a peer. He treated me like a friend. And of course, I'm over the moon. I call my mom, an hour and a half away. I go, Mom, I just saw Stan. And she's like, really? What'd he say? What'd he say? I said, he threatened to sue my ass off. And she's like, why are you so happy? What's wrong with you? Now, the thing is, I told other friends at the time, and they're like, Stan doesn't talk like that. I'm like, you had to be there. He told me he's going to sue my ass off. And they're like, no, Stan doesn't talk like that. I'm like, how do you know? I'm the one that met him. No, Stan doesn't talk like that. And so, unfortunately, towards the end of his life, he had a series of caretakers. He was like 96 when he passed on. And he did a video that got on YouTube, went viral, where he was there were people trying to get a hold of him and sink their claws into him. And he had one guy that was his current caretaker, and he said, he's on the air and he's going like, anyone that says anything about my friend here, so-and-so, you let me know. You send me an email, because if I find anyone saying anything nasty about this guy, I'm going to sue their ass off. And suddenly my email box just blew up with apologies. These people go, okay, Brian, I'm sorry. You were right. So.
Wow.
That's my Stan Lee story.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I can't
Carl
imagine getting
here
to meet
with
him.
an interesting.
Oh, he's a wonderful man. Wonderful man.
What is the excuse me? What is the most frustrating thing about writing for you guys?
For me, it's not getting enough time to do it.
I'd have to agree.
With having to have a day job, it's one of those, okay, I got the day job, I got the family, I got the other stuff. Can I just have some time, please? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, now with COVID upon us, and I know you broke your leg recently, how has that affected your writing abilities now?
Yeah, I sprained my ankle real bad. It feels like it ought to be broke. Actually, that's given me more time, and because I work landscape, I get 4 months of the year off, so that should give me 4 months to write. But like I said, then there's life and kids, and
Yeah.
So my goal is, with this Nanowrimo thing, especially, to get another book ready for editing. Because I've got the ideas and it's flowing. Every time I sit down, I can get 5,000, 6,000 words out, but I got to have that time to sit down.
And how did you come into writing romance?
I wanted it in my life.
Don't we all?
Right. So I got to get it somewhere. Well, and then I'm always worried that my ideas no one else will like, sort of thing. So where else do you put your ideas? You write them down. Well, it just so happens that I'm not the only freak out there. So it worked.
How I shouldn't ask this question because I should just buy your books. But how in depth and in detail are your scenes? That's
the hiccup. They were very, very detailed. And the publisher went, yeah, back it up. Yeah. I was like,
really?
What do you mean?
After,
wait a minute.
Like, 50 Shades of Grey and all that.
She found the 51st shade of gray. Was what it is.
50 Shades of Grey is vanilla. Has a wild Saturday night.
Yeah.
50 Shades is stupid. They got the whole BDSM thing. If you read the book, not the movie, they got the whole BDSM thing correct, which is what I wanted to make sure of when I bought the books. But apparently the movie doesn't explain it as well. But no, as far as 50 Shades of Grey, it didn't. She never got. I don't know if it's because her point of view wasn't the deep point of view or what, but it never pulled you into the story enough for you to feel those emotions that you should have felt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mine are a little bit more than 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. She let me beta read one of the passages for her next book, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Cookie.
No. It's one of those things I'm going to share with my wife,
right.
And I'm thanking you in advance. Yeah.
I got more where that came from.
Yeah. It's like, Well, it's like I showed her a book that of erotica that a friend of mine wrote, and I owe them dinner. That's all I've got to say. So,
Okay, so book number 2 goes to Brian and Cookie.
well, it'll go to Cookie, that's for sure. I'm telling you right now. But no, she's. I gotta say, I gotta brag on Mckayla. She's a very skillful writer, and like you said, about I had the same problem with 50 Shades because it didn't exactly engage me. For whatever reason, and it's not like I have a disinterest in the topic, but I think I was distracted by the euphemisms. It sounded like an old Bloodhound Gang song about where they had different variations, like the aiming the salami for the meat wallet sort of thing. I just that stuff just pulled me so straight out of the book that and the thing is, I used to work in a couple of adult bookstores when I was younger. And I honestly, I have to admire the author for her industry, for marketing, for everything. I mean, the books, she found her audience. She found her audience, and we can't knock her for that. But I have read some of those $2 paperbacks in the back of the room that were far more intellectually and emotionally stimulating for me. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm really sensitive or anything. I'm as much for this as anything. But
right, but there wasn't a lot of that in those books.
No, there wasn't. No,
she tried to go emotional and it didn't work.
Yeah, because it almost felt like she was shifting gears. Like, you're going downhill and then you decide, well, I better stop, so I'm going to put it in park and see what happens. So,
and I wonder how much of that was the publisher. Because now that I have that experience, I wonder how much of that was the publisher saying, you got to back up just a little bit because your readers won't like that. Really?
Yeah.
You know my readers?
Yeah.
I didn't know you knew them.
Yeah, that's a very good point, really. And that's and Mckayla has, like she said, has experience with that, having been published by others, whereas I was self-published and then I got to be published by others. But my experiences have been far more positive. In fact, one time, I've told this story on my show several times, that I was working for one editor. She did a beautiful job of editing my story. And then she came back to me 2 months later and said, well, Brian, everyone else in the book is using obscenities. You aren't. Can we edit one in?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I'm like, sure. And so we found a place where we could call someone a bitch. And, she went away happy. And I felt like I'd done my job. But yeah, it's, it's kind of odd, the demands of certain publishers, which is why I'm such an evangelical sort for self-publishing.
Oh yeah, 90s Gargoyles, awesome.
Yeah. Yes, my thing.
Love it.
You got competition.
It's been said in my presence many times that get out the power strip because Brian's bringing the plugs.
I got it better.
Oh no, well, that's more fun when you do it. I want that book, Mckayla. I want that book. Name your price, woman.
It's mine.
Oh my darling. Oh, but no, I started something on one of my shows and
lick it, Brian, lick it. Oh yeah.
Share it with someone you love.
Wait, we're not supposed to do that. It's COVID, damn it.
Speaking of plugs, where did the hashtag bring Cookie home come from?
That is the goal with Rising Tide Publications. My wife, God bless her, has been. You see, I have an associate degree in journalism that I've only started using in the last 20 years. And my wife is far better educated, a lot smarter than I am. And she has been the principal breadwinner for this particular family for the longest time. And when I lost my job in 2012, and she said, "You're doing this full time. This is your job now. You work it." And couple of years ago, I realized that, she's doing all this stuff for me. And when she comes in, she's a great editor. She's a fantastic collaborator, an amazing sounding board. And she loves the process of creating a book. She feels as invested in the work as I do. And it just dawned on me, I want her home. I want her working for me. And one day we had a talk, and she was like, well, you haven't gotten this done. You need to do this. You can get your writing done anytime. And I said, yeah, but I've got to do this. I've got to lay out this ad. I've got to do this. All the other stuff that goes along with being a self-publisher that's no damn fun, but it's got to be done so you can keep being a self-publisher. And she said, well, what? And she asked me, said, what is your goal? What is your goal with this, this thing? And I said, it's to bring you home. And she thought for about half a second. She goes, okay, what do I do then? What do I need to do to help you? And so she got tired of standing on concrete for 12 hours a day in a restaurant. And during the start of the My Sharona Miley Cyrus Peter pandemic, so we might still get monetized later on. She took a course on Photoshop. And she's been laying out covers for not just me, but other publishers. She's taken up comic book coloring. She's just an amazing, talented woman, and she's going to be working on my merchandising the next few weeks. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So she's we're going to have a merch line by the first quarter of next year, and all kinds of ideas for stickers. For instance, do I have one with me? No, I've got them all downstairs, but she made one with my logo, which is the fez, the glasses, and the sideburns, and the bow tie. But she turned it into like a little sticker, a little ad for me that we've been giving away at the 1-2 shows we've been at this fall. Bad Brian. Anyway, but no, she's a really great collaborator, but my main goal is to bring her home so that we can do this together. Okay. And she can do more of the stuff that I don't want to do, because she knows that, well, we figured out that with my business, at least, the main thing I bring to the table, aside from long range planning for the business, is I'm the chief set of hands. I'm the type monkey. And so I've got to be typing. I've got to be creating, because that's where the strength of this company lies.
Aw, that's such a sweet story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking. Now, don't tell anybody I'm sensitive or nothing. I've got a manly, brutal reputation I'm trying to uphold here. So,
you know what? Screw the image of being macho. There are a lot of guys who I know that read romance movie. If they love romance movies, they read the romance books.
I'm one of them.
It's funny. Like, I'll even watch. Like, I've watched 50 Shades of Grey with my husband, and he loves those. He loves those movies. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Don't tell anybody. I don't like people know." I'm like,
yeah, don't tell anybody.
Well, I'm just kidding. I mean, I read, like, our mutual friends, Amy Hale and Kathy Jackson. I read Kathy Jackson's Yours to Love. I just wanted to see what it was like, because I tried reading romance in the past, and I never could get past like 4 or 5 pages. I found it to be dribble. But I read hers. It's an inspirational romance, and I was enthralled by it. And now I'm one of her beta readers. In fact, I read her Jericho's Walls, and there's this wonderful scene. We were talking about 50 Shades earlier, where the man and woman, they're going to get together. It's just the journey, right? And she's mad at him. He's mad at her. She decides, I'm not going to argue with him anymore. She turns her back to him, and he gets mad enough that he pulls his hand back and swats her on the ass as hard as he can. And then there's this long description of all the feelings going through her body, especially about, I think 3 of them at that moment, going into glorious detail about it. And one, I think I got a better glimpse into the psyche of Kathy Jackson than most people did. But I'm sitting there going, Kathy. So So yeah, I have taken to reading romance books because there's some really good writers in that field, and it's a good way to hook up with emotion, which is something that I think we talked about that with 50 Shades. That's missing from a lot of people's work. That it's not just plot oriented, but the emotional aspect is something I'm trying to bring more out in my own work. So
yeah. How important was it going to conventions for your career? Like, I know it's kind of at a standstill right now, but
I haven't even gotten to go.
I've gone to, I think, one, two. God, please don't let me comment. Please, God, don't
no, you know what? I am not judging you at all. I'm not judging you harshly at all because you actually wear a mask, and I saw that, how separated you were from the next booth, which was really nice to see that conventions can be a reality still in the COVID era if we just learn to keep our distance and protect ourselves and wash our hands and sanitize.
Right, exactly.
But I know that for some conventions we have shut down completely, and so I'm just curious, like, has that affected your book sales at all?
Yeah. In my case, in my case, I treat online book sales and in-person book sales as two different lines. Think of it like two different lines of income. My obvious, when I have gone out, I'm sitting here thinking, how many shows did I get to this year? I may have gone to 5 shows this year, three at the start of the year, and then 2 just recently. I tend to have a very vigorous personal appearance schedule. And so obviously my in-person stuff is nothing to write home about. But I found that during this pandemic, especially since I am a promoter, that the sales have gone up considerably online. Because people are trapped, and when the stimulus check came out, yeehaw!
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good to me, and I still do a lot of business, mail order business, for instance, not just relying on Amazon and Smashwords to carry my products, but you know, I think it's the one thing. I think we've all had to become a little bit more clever and work just a little bit harder. But there's an audience out there still for our work. It's just that it's kind of like in the body where you get cut, and the blood is kind of rerouted around it. The same thing I think is apt for what we do as self-publishers, that we have to find alternate ways to get our work and our message out to the public. So
Yeah. And was your family supportive in when you guys told them that you want to be an author or a writer? Like, how supportive was your family during your adventures?
My family has, well, okay, let me put it this way. My husband's family, they are very supportive. In fact, it was my husband's sister-in-law that said, "Why the hell isn't this published?" And I said, my husband has always heard about the book. It's always been the book. And he's always been like, "Well, do what you want with it." And then when I said, "Listen, I'm sending this to a publisher," and he said, "Okay, great, send it." The only hiccup I ever had with it was I got my contract from the publisher. And remember, this is how I thought you had to put a book out. I thought you had to go through a publisher. So to me, getting that letter from the publisher that said, "Yes, we're going to accept your book," after all these authors have told me, "Listen, don't be surprised if they send you a rejection letter, because I can paper a wall with all the ones I've gotten." And I said, "Okay, no problem. I can deal with no. I've heard it all my life." So I get it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they accepted my book." This is the first publisher I've sent it to. The first place I've said, here, try this. And they said, yeah, we want your book. I was blown away. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want to celebrate. Let's go out to dinner. Let's may have a party. My husband didn't say a word. He just didn't say anything. He didn't say, it blew me away. It was just like this, yay, I'm excited, woo! Stop. Full stop. What? Holy crap. And to this day, he will tell you, yeah, I kind of dropped the ball there. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if we should be you and me celebrate. I didn't know if it should be us and the family, if we should invite everybody. He says, I didn't know, and I kind of dropped the ball. So other than that, though, my family has been hugely supportive. Like, a lot of times I'll be recording a video for my YouTube channel that I need to do more of. And I know. And the girls will be like, oh, is she recording again? Oh. Or I'll be writing or something, and they will tiptoe through the house from one door to the other. Because I've usually got earphones in, or I've even got like our shooting headphones to block out sound. And they will just tiptoe through the house so that they're quiet. So yeah, they've been a huge support.
Yeah, and I have to say, Cookie, my wife, has been my chief cheerleader. She's the one. I mean, we've had times when I'm like, well, honey, I can always hand out carts at Walmart. She goes, you get your ass back to the typewriter and keep creating. That's how I'm getting home. And I'm like, okay. So, but when I announced that I was going to be self-publishing, that I was going to become a full-time author, of course, I'm estranged from my blood relations. My in-laws were like, that's nice. It's like, oh, Brian's off on a tangent again. Peter Pan's at it. And but what really surprised me were people I thought were my friends were like, are you insane? You can't make anything of it. Only people with no public talent publish themselves. Plus, you're going to have to pay so much money to get your work out, and nobody will want it, and nobody will know that you're even writing, etc., etc. All of which I found out immediately was a lie. Mm-hmm. And one of my hashtags is hashtag fueled by spite. Because nice. I'm listening to these people and I'm like, you sons of bitches. I finally have something I am trying to achieve my dream. How long I've wanted this, and it. And the minute the door opens, you're there in the way telling me you're going to slam it shut and lock it. Well, screw y'all. Watch this. And so I published a couple of books, and all of a sudden the criticism ended. Fancy that. And I think it's a very good way to see who your true friends are. And that's why, like when I put out a book now, it's like I know Mckayla is as excited about it as I am, just as I am knowing she's working on her book. Our tribe, our peer group, they're our cheerleaders. And it's like, if we have a problem, we know we can go to each other. And the beauty of it all is that we are supportive, but we're not competitive with each other. I think
that's what I love about the community that you guys have created, and like being in your chat during your shows. I'm just enthralled of all the support that you get. I mean, even here, like, minus the Brian sucks from Christian.
You weren't supposed to tell.
But
you swallow, Christian. So I love you, Christian. I love you. And go to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. This man just passed 40,000 subscribers. Yeah, drink. But he just passed 40,000 subscribers. Please give that page a like if you would. He's a brilliant guy. I love him dearly, and I wouldn't put up with that shit from anyone but him. But anyway,
he inspires me every day to do better.
Yeah. love you, Christian. I do.
Well, and my mentor Linda said it best, I think. She said, "What are they going to do when they put down your book? They need a new book." I'm sorry, but how many books have you read as a reader on your own? You know that even if you like one of my favorites is Christine Feehan. Even though I like her, it doesn't mean I'm not going to read Jude Devereaux or, Neil Gaiman. I have time. I can read more than one book in my life or more than one author. There's no reason to say, oh, well, no. All my fans are my fans. You can't have them. No, screw that.
Yeah. It's like, how many times do we promote each other?
Yeah.
In our group, and we've got, some wonderful people, and I hate to start naming, but we've named Amy and Kathy, Jason Nugent, who is a USA Today best-selling author, Kenny Sills, a horror writer, Charles F. Millhouse, and some other friends of mine like Jim Beard and Bobby Nash and Ron Fortier and all, that we've just got this incredible supportive network of people, and we're all friends. But I for myself, I don't feel like I'm in competition with any of them. One, because we all write different things. And I firmly believe that when we self-publish, if one of us succeeds, then we all do, because we're setting a good example and putting down that lie about, only the talentless resort to this. But it does make me work harder, because, if I hear that Amy and Mckayla are going to be at a restaurant after the show, I want to be with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to make sure that I have a place at the table, that I have earned it.
Absolutely. So, and mostly why I lurk in the chat is because I love your stories. I'm there because I adore storytellers, and you're quite the storyteller. And the fact that you can fill up 2 hours just reading people's comments is fantastic, but you get so sidetracked because you're telling your life story, and I'm just like, tell me more.
You're the one, it's Christian, that keeps putting in, hey, I typed this comment in 2017. When do you think he's going to get to it? And it's like, okay, fine. It's funny you mentioned that. Last Friday, we had a special episode of our Clever Title Pending show with Master Ron Fitzgerald, who is a Gothic illusionist out of the Chicago area. And he was prepping for his own show on Halloween night. And so he had people like in his his basement.
Dungeon?
And,
What?
oh, yeah. Hi, Mckayla. Would you like me to bring you with me next time?
Yeah.
No problem, girl. We got this going on. But anyway, I know what she likes.
But whatever.
I love her. Anyway, I get a phone call about 5 minutes before the show's starting, and I am punctual to a fault. And he calls me and said, well, we're trying to get this thing filmed for tomorrow night, and we didn't get it done. Can you vamp for about 5 or 10 minutes? And I'm like, do you watch my morning show? Dude, I've got this. And it's a good thing I've developed that skill, because 50 minutes later, Ron finally gets it together so he can show up on my program. So, and part of that was he was planning a surprise for me. So, imagine my shock when he gets on the, and that's one thing I love about doing the show, is the unpredictability of it. I look down that little window, the little StreamYard window where we see each other in the waiting room, and I can't make out what it is. It's like, that doesn't look like Ron. So I just hit, I don't wear these just for decoration. So I hit the button, bring him onto the screen, and he's wearing a fez. He's got some fake sideburns, glasses, and a bow tie. It was hilarious. I mean, I almost Amy Haled right then and there.
That poor woman is never going to live that down ever.
She's not. No, she's not. No. We did a show we did another Clever Title Pending with Amy Hale, and about an hour into it, she's like, "Excuse me, I've really got to go to the bathroom." She gets up and walks out, and I'm like, let's read some comments, shall we? And she had to pee real bad. And so Carl Witzman, not that I want to name culprits or anything, is helping keep the memory alive, if you will.
Yeah. As he does everything. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah. Every time somebody does something silly on the show, I'm like, Carl, can I get a screenshot of that? Next thing I know,
Yes.
I've got stuff on people I can't show on the air. I really can't.
Carl, damn it! I told you not to do that.
Oh, this was for you, Mckayla.
I know. I seen it coming too. I seen it coming. Yes.
That's what she said.
Warrior's Secret has a sequel called Warrior's Trust. Actually, there's 8 books so far in the series, and I refuse to put it out until my critique partner, Linda, has gone through it with me, because she makes me see it a different way. And I swear, every time I think, well, Linda's busy, I don't want to bother her, I'll just go ahead and publish it. Every single time she comes back with, look at this and look at this and look at this and look at it a different way. And so then I look at it that different way and I'm like, shit, how was I so stupid? That's dumb. Why did I write it that way? And she's like, because you can't see the forest for the trees. Once you've written it and edited, you get to the point where you just skim over it. So without that critique partner, line by line critiquing it, you don't see it. Like I had Carl read it, and I had Donna Carleen read it, and they each gave me a different perspective of what they saw that I didn't see. So I went through and I made all the corrections that they saw or suggestions that they made. And then I gave it to Linda, and she's still finding stuff, but she's really busy. So she's doing it a chapter at a time, and we're trying to do it a chapter a day. But she's busy. So it's one of those, it's frustrating, but I refuse to put that damn book out because Warrior's Secret has got so many flubs in it from a professional editor that I'm like, no, I'll just wait. So it's coming out. It's getting there. I am working. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. It's just taking a minute. Longer than I wanted.
Doesn't it always? I'd have my romance. I'd have my romance book and the sequel to my 2015 book, Volcano: Rebirth of the Champion, out by now if I had kept to my schedule. But things being what they are,
Right.
yeah. So, but no, let's see, my work in progress right now, I am participating in NaNoWriMo. I have a Patreon page where for $5 a month, you can get a sneak peek into my first draft flash novel where I'm big on outlining. I am huge on it because I've written myself into so many corners, but once I started outlining, I can finish things. Well, I'm writing by the seat of my pants just to shut the pantsers up and show them I can do it. Hashtag fueled by spite. And so I want to get ahead in it because I've been releasing these chapters once a month on my Patreon page. Well, if I get far enough ahead, I'm going to do 2 a month, and eventually the book will see print. That's my main thing right now. I've got a couple of articles. I just finished an article for someone last week that the Batman 66 may have had something to do with. Hell of an assignment. Your assignment, Brian, is to watch Vincent Price on Batman.
Darn it.
Somebody's got to do it. Well, let me throw myself on that grenade. But then, and then I got to, and I'm like, I'm going to get this stuff done. And then somebody presented me with something yesterday. It's only 300 words. I'm like, I can do that. So, there's the distractions. You get up to a certain point and people ask you for work. It's like, damn, yeah, sucks to be Brian, doesn't it?
Yep.
Poor guy. But no, it's like I think that's my current one, and then I have my NaNoWrimo project from last year. Shut up, Mckayla. Shut up, Christian.
You make it so easy, though.
I try to, darling. Anyway,
you guys are just encouraging him.
I'm reading the comments. It doesn't help anything.
And I'm so calm when I'm on my own show. And anyway, yeah, right. My ass. Anyway, but no, I have last year's NaNoWrimo project, which is my fantasy romance book that, due to the press of other paying assignments, as opposed to throwing this thing out in the wild and knocking on wood, I chose the other assignments, and so this is being delayed till probably next year because Cookie, who is also my business manager and my traffic manager, has said, you're going to finish that book is what is going to happen. And I,
Crack
of
that
course,
whip,
in both.
Pookie.
That's right. And I utter the magic words, yes, dear, and do what I'm told. So, yeah, we'll be doing Aquatic, Love Above the Waves, sometime next year. It will be released next year. It's going to have a fantastic cover by Matthew Madkelt Jackson. We are also looking at a book I'm very slow at editing, unfortunately. Doc Saga, which is an anthology about a time-spanning healer that adventure, kind of my love letter to the old pulps. And we've got some great people writing on that, and I got to get that out. And we're going to have a cover by Plasma Fire Graphics. Jeffrey Hayes is going to do the art for that one. And then I've got a great Kim Lockman cover for my Volcana book, which I'll work on next year too. I have rewritten that opening like 5 different times because I'm so intimidated by writing an I want to make the sequel as good as the first one, and I keep writing and getting to be a better writer, I hope, and so I have to keep rewriting to keep up with all this crap. Yeah, you feel my pain?
I do.
You should.
Yeah,
I know.
like Warrior Secret, I loved that book, and now that it's published, I'm like, there are so many things in that book that I'm like, oh God.
I know. Me too.
I'm such a better writer now.
Yeah. That's why I tell people, if you have writer's block, just write anyway, because when you're done, you're still going to be a better writer than when you started.
Yeah, and you're going to not like the project that you worked on 10 years from now, because... But that's okay, because in 5 years, 4 more years, I get my rights back, and I can fix it.
Yes.
Yes, and I can fix it.
How often have you guys written short stories that ended up becoming longer stories?
What are these fabled things? I can't write short. Short.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. I stutter. Yeah, I do that all the time. I did a story about 2 years ago for Indelaprose, which was a kind of a salute to the old Dell Comics characters, and I worked on a story of Brain Boy, who was a mentalist slash spy slash everything, and I was told 5,000 words, no problem, and then I started adding stuff to make me happy. And I'm like, this is getting better. And so I got it actually up to over 10,000 words. And I'm like, screw him. I told the editor, if you don't publish this, I will. Okay. Ooh. And he said, no, I like it actually. And he wound up using it. Part of me is like, well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The other part is, I wanted to publish it myself. So it's like that's a nice thing about self-publishing, in that if somebody rejects your work, you can just turn around and publish it yourself. So rejections are meaningless now. They just inspire us.
One of my favorite questions: favorite book to movie adaptation.
Ooh. Mine would probably be William Peter Blatty's Exorcist. Of course, he also did the screenplay. I know, and I forget my own sometimes. But no, that was, of course, he also wrote the screenplay for The Exorcist, so that makes sense. I'd say The Godfather, but again, Mario Puzo wrote both of them. Probably my favorite is, otherwise, if you call 2 different people doing it, mine would probably be the pilot for The $6 Million Man. It was a weeknight movie on ABC originally, kind of like a pilot of sorts, and it was very faithful to the original novel. But Martin Caidin did not write the screenplay for that, so that's probably The $6 Million Man / Cyborg would be mine. I don't have time to think, Mckayla. Okay.
I don't do movies a lot, so I can't tell you which one it was, but Black Beauty was one of my favorite books as a kid. And they did a really good adaptation of the book to a movie, but I don't know who directed it, who starred in it. I don't know. But it was just a good one. And there's several out there. I know there is, because something like that they make, all the time, so. I just don't know.
Yeah, that was one thing that astonished me. In high school, I read Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind. And because at the time they were re-releasing the old film, and it was, I thought it was amazing. And this is what really opened my eyes about novelizations, and especially movies that were made from novels. What you see on the screen is actually about 1/3 of the book. That, you have the opening, that's fine, you burn Atlanta, then you go to the end, but there is like a slew of things that happen to Scarlett O'Hara that just never made it into the film. Kind of surprised me.
Is it, you think maybe that's because of the length?
Oh yeah, it had to be the length because this is back in the days before Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, where and even then that was kind of condensed storytelling to a degree because Lord of the Rings is such a huge book. But yeah, Gone with the Wind is a monster. I mean, it took me a couple months to read that thing thoroughly. But I was just surprised that they left out so much from the film, but the film still stood on its own, and it was still an enjoyable watch. But the book is amazing.
Yeah. I remember reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in high school, and I took it out of the library like several times, and I remember going in there to take it out for like, what was it, like the fourth time, and the librarian's like, either you're a very slow reader or you really like this book. I'm like, I really like this book.
Yeah. When I told my mother I wanted to read Frankenstein, the first thing she told me was, like, she didn't say it's going to be scary, you're going to stay up late, crying for me, that sort of thing. She said it's not like the film. And I'd seen the film several times, and I'm like, okay, well, thank you for the warning. And the book and the film diverge very much in certain places, but they still stand alone as really good. Now, Dracula by Bram Stoker was very faithfully adapted for the Bela Lugosi movie. So,
yeah, that's another book that I took up multiple times because I'm just like, I love these stories.
Oh yeah, great stuff.
I remember getting into R.L. Stine's Fear Street, and
I remember those.
Yeah.
They were awesome. They were amazing stories for teenagers, and I remember when Goosebumps came out, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Goosebumps is amazing!" I'm just like, "I'll stick with Fear Street, thank you."
Yeah.
That's the other one I was thinking of was Goosebumps.
Yeah, because Goosebumps is R.L. Stine was like, I've already taken the training wheels off. I'm ready to ride now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But and then of course that led to reading Stephen King stuff, and like, I don't know, just some of the movies that Stephen King that have been adapted from Stephen King's stories don't seem to bode well very between the books and the movie, but I really liked The Green Mile, though.
That was good. That was very good.
Both the story and the movie just was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like Carrie, and I like the original TV version of Salem's Lot with David Soul. I really like that a lot. Now, The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, I still think somebody owes me about $3 for my movie ticket. I demand an apology. But no, I saw that, and I just finished reading The Shining. I thought it was an amazing work because I got the original hardcover, and I realized 100 pages in, nothing's happened. But I know all these characters now, and I'm thoroughly invested in them, and I love them with all my heart. And then Stanley Kubrick decides he's going to make a B-50s horror film out of this thing, and leave out all the rich animals. Creeped me the hell out when I read that thing. And he, and then he kills Scatman Crothers characters. I don't care if I'm spoiling it for anyone. I'm doing you a public service. There's great imagery. It's a beautiful movie. The cinematography is wonderful. But I remember leaving the theater, and one of my friends was standing outside waiting to come in. And he was a huge fan of Stephen King too, and he's all aglow like it's Christmas morning. Going, what'd you think of it, Brian? And I said in front of the manager and everybody, you turn your ass right around, go back to the box office, and get your money back. You're going to save yourself about 2 hours of pain. And I stormed out of the theater, and he called me later that night. He said, I should have listened to you. I should have followed your advice. So yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens when you write like large volumes, that not everything is going to translate well to the silver screen, especially with our current diminished attention span. God help anybody that tries to do the screenplay for Volcana. Which, by the way, is available on Amazon.
The art is amazing on that, by the way.
Yes, that's my guy again, who did Sandestein, Trevor Eric Hawkins. And he's...
Look, I got one of those.
Yes! Yeah,
Look,
this is Trevor Eric Hawkins. You've got Eric. You've got the Eric Hawkins. I've got the Hawkins family working for me, although they're not related.
Oh, yeah.
But Trevor also did this cover here, the Haunting Scripts of Bachelor's Grove. So I'm proud of my boy.
Awesome.
And he also helped with the Skyman book, too.
I have that book. I don't have it with me, but I have that book.
Okay.
Well, anybody that doesn't have a copy of this book, go to Amazon.com/authors/Brian K. Morris. Anyway.
Speaking of Skyman, you actually drew the character to Skyman, and you had a little help with.
Well, here's the story. This was originally done by a wonderful artist from the 60s and 70s named Pat Boyette. And he talked to Ron Franz, who actually owns the character of Skyman. He bought it from Vince Sullivan, who was instrumental in his creation back in the 40s. Well, Pat had done like his own color scheme, and he had the logo going through the cape and the ankle there. My original cover artist bailed on me. No, he didn't bail. I fired him for multiple reasons. And I'm like, I got to get this done. I've got to have a cover. And then I have this artwork staring at me. And so I redrew part of it to eliminate the, all the logos and all the print and everything. And I colored most everything. Then I handed it over to Trevor Eric Hawkins, hence the confusion. That's his middle name. But I handed it over to him, and he and a guy named Randy Bishop made this thing look amazing. So I'm very proud of them both. But I also work with a gentleman, the Eric Hawkins, he calls himself now. I've created a monster, but we do comic book work together. So, and he's just, last year he released The Zombiful World of Oz, an amazing comic book that everyone ought to be reading. So there. I also promote my friends.
But
That's
you do draw, right?
Exactly,
You are an artist, right?
I used to draw a lot back in the days, mostly comic style art. And then when I moved from Illinois to Indiana, I got a hold of some of the stuff I drew when I was like 7 years old and compared it to the stuff I had drawn just a few years earlier and seen so little artistic progression that I said, screw this. I'll art direct, but I'm pretty much a writer from this point on. So,
Christian keeps popping up in the chat here.
Yeah, imagine that.
And,
we love you, Christian.
I'm kind of afraid to bring up some of his stuff, but Christian, damn well, start yourself an OnlyFans. We'll be your OnlyFans.
I want to see those pictures, Christian. And if you do any of the spine licking, I'm going to send them to Carl Witzman.
We'll pay you a penny.
Oh, Lord.
He can make change. Anyway. Yeah, I can see why. I'm looking through the comments. I can see why you're a little nervous. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should bring any of those up.
She said bring them up.
But yeah, Ryan has a good question.
Yes.
Short story. Do you have any tips for those of us who want to take the plunge and write short stories?
Start writing.
Yeah, that was my suggestions. Yeah. Write your short story. Seriously,
Yeah,
you're right.
It sounds really simple and really like asinine to say it that way, but really just start. Just have diarrhea of the mouth on paper. Just do it.
Yeah, seriously, and that's very good advice from Mckayla there. But the thing is, you want to create a finished product. You can't edit what you haven't written. You can't sell or market anything that you have not put to paper yet. And the thing is, you're probably thinking, I get this a lot from people. Well, I write my first draft and it sucks. Well, guess what? So does Stephen King's. So does J.K. Rowling. I don't show. Right? You have no idea what it takes for me right now to show my Patreon people who are paying to be there, by the way, my first draft on a novel. If that doesn't turn your bowels to water, nothing will. I'm absolutely fearless now. But yeah, your first draft will stink. It's going to be awful. And then you edit it and you go back and forth. You hand it to other people who have, good opinions and maybe people you trust. Don't hand them to your relatives because they're going to just be an echo chamber. But just tell people, don't worry about my feelings. Mm-hmm. And chances are they won't. So you better have your shields up too. But you edit it and you then figure out what you want to do with it. You could print a short story in Kindle Direct Publishing. A book doesn't have to be this thick. It can be this thick. The Mad Gasser of Calhoun County. Mad Gasser Cheerleader of Calhoun County.
It's big.
It's fun sized.
Yeah.
But
it fits right here.
There's your money shot, Christian.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I don't remember now. But yeah, I know. I want to be that book so badly now.
Go deeper. Let's just put it in here.
That's right.
Look, see, now it's gone.
Okay. Against the wall.
I made Brian.
Yeah. Next time I see you, I'm doing the search. But anyway, there's only one way to find out. This is what it's like when the two of us get together. God help me, both of us. But no, seriously, the best advice. Mckayla had it right, 100%. Just write the thing. You won't. I don't remember who said it, but I think it's Michael Jordan said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you might not be the next Stephen King. I'm not, but you can be the best Ryan Persimmon you can possibly be, and maybe Ryan is the person that someone out there is waiting to read. You don't know who you're talking off the ledge when you submit stories and you put them out in the marketplace. So I encourage you to definitely just start writing that thing, even if it's just a page a day. Robert Heinlein, the great Robert Heinlein, great classical science fiction author, used to write one good page a day. And he got very, very far. Yeah. So good luck with that and keep us posted, please, Ryan. We'd really love to hear your progress. It's true, Mckayla. I'm being sincere.
I'm reading the comments. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah, I can see why you're laughing now, Christian.
Look, Carly's book. Look, it's gone. See, that's a bigger book. Donna's is bigger, so
Huh? Oh, we're not talking about that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this one. Can find all of Mckayla's stories on Pornhub using keywords.
Not quite, Christian.
Yeah, Dino porn would be mine.
Boys.
I don't even want to ask where the dino porn came from because I kind of heard the story. Like everybody can imagine. Like
it's me. No. It's me. The hashtag it's Brian's fault. No, one night we were talking. One day we were talking about use. I had done some research on some things I was thinking about writing, and Amazon drills very, very deeply, so to speak. Shut up, Christian. Into various genres. And they have actually you don't see them all, but they have several hundred genres available. And I had gone into one that I was looking up erotica one night, and I was looking at the top 10 books there. And if the meteor had hit that night, I would think it would be just desserts because it took away all my faith in humanity. And we got to talking about useless. I shouldn't say useless because they have their fans and it's okay. I'm not really tossing stones about that. But there were so many niche categories, and I just, I was just, just blathering on about, not much like I'm doing now, and said, there's all kinds of like really stupid ones out there, like dino porn or something like that. And immediately, bam, everyone just latches onto that. And I don't know how long we've been talking about that, but I don't think a single show goes by where somebody doesn't mention dino porn.
It doesn't help anything. That wasn't it Bill Sarton that drew a picture? Yeah. That doesn't help anything.
Yeah. He drew like a coffee shop with dino porn as the subject of it. Yeah. I think it's across the room. So, but yeah, I've created a monster.
Yeah, but it's so much fun.
It is fun. Yeah, that's true. We have like this mythology around the show.
You never live it down. Trust me. It lives on forever on the internet.
Yeah. In fact, when Christian, I've got something on him. He one night we were talking, and I think it was at another event. It wasn't one of my shows, but Christian was. We got to talking about dino porn because what else do we talk about, right? And Christian and I said, don't look it up because I've looked it up. It will terrify you. Seriously, people, this is a public service announcement from Rising Tide Publications. Do not look up dino porn or dinosaur pornography on Google. And now I hear all of you clacking your typewriter, not taking my advice. Yeah. Well, there's like, imagine if you will, there's a screen like this. There's about half a dozen of us talking. And Christian, of course, is like that. And then it comes up. And Carl Wistman very graciously sent me a screenshot of it, but there is this like Christian's face that I cannot even come close to duplicating. That it was like he had gazed into the gaping maw of hell itself, and was amply rewarded for his misspent curiosity. And of course, I'm keeping that.
You are.
It's in my StreamYard queue right now, and everything. And Christian has done a couple of episodes with me of Never Mind the Furthermore, and I love him to death. I really do. And he asked me one day. He said, "Do you still have that picture of me?" I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Really? If you want me to get rid of it, I'll get rid of it." He goes, "You get rid of it, I'll put it back up." So yeah, we're going to get the Christian collection.
Yeah, which comment can you read?
Amy Hale says hello all. Yeah, hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. You picked the wrong time to show up.
Welcome to the train wreck. That is my show.
The flaming dumpster fire.
Yeah,
this will be my last.
You asked for this.
Yeah, I was going to say this will be my last appearance on Willow's Pillow Talk.
It'll be multiple appearances, trust me. Speaking of a man who made multiple appearances on my show, Mark, how's it going, bud?
There's a safe comment.
Hi, Mark. Don't hold this against her, please. Willow didn't know what she was doing.
He can be just as dirty.
Okay.
Challenge accepted. Oh, and Christian Basil envies a book. Well, thank you, Chris. Maybe next time if we ever meet Christian, I will lick your spine too. Okay.
I might take pictures of that. I might need pictures.
Okay. No problem. Just for you.
That could be your video on OnlyFans that gets everybody to.
There you go.
I'm there.
That's my $1,000 mark.
That's right. Yes, we're going to establish $1,000 a month Patreon level. You get to abuse me.
If somebody send me $1,000 a month, I can quit my day job.
Hey, if I get enough fans, I'll pay for you to stay home. How's that?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's right. Yeah, and Carl Wistman says, "Hey, Christian, my book was in Mckayla's blouse. That's when I died."
Oh. That's all it takes. They're
That's
so
right,
easy.
my God. Oh.
I guess
I love you all so very much. You guys help make my show interesting.
Yeah, and Christian Basil's going for the dino porn again. Christian, I told you what would happen.
Put down
with
the
it,
mouse.
yeah. Just
Wait,
back
what are
away
we doing with
from
the mouse?
Google. Oh, yeah, and and tonight's no, Christian, we don't have a safe word tonight. I'm sorry.
Safe words are for pussies. Oh wait, did I say that? I'm sorry.
Carl, I'll need a capture of that, please.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh no, I love it. No, we don't.
Oh, okay. I try not to get anybody in trouble.
Oh no.
Thank you all you want. It'll just turn me on.
Oh well, there we go. And you are in Canada. There's the crime right there. Damn it.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
That is too far away.
Yeah. Carl is very good about isolating images from StreamYard, and I do have one of Mckayla that I love her, and that's why I don't put it up there. It was one night when you were on, and it was on Clever Title Pinning with Amy Hale, and I had asked a question, and Lynn Shively, I think. Oh God, yes. Anyway,
What were you
and Lynn
saying?
Shively was on, and I asked a question, and you were relieved that Amy was going to answer first, and you put your hands up in the air and started doing this number. And Carl sent me a video of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You did.
Okay, actually, yeah. Carl, I'll get the time for later. Okay. Carl.
I don't even remember, so it must have been a good show.
It was. Yeah. No, I was the host, so you take your chances on there. So.
Good Lord.
By the way, this is streaming on Twitch as well, so if you guys want to put a little bit of money in the kitty, that would be helpful.
Please. We are the guests she can afford. Let her buy good guests.
Hey, watch it. I'm a high dollar.
Okay, me. Yeah, you are. She's the A-lister. I'm just loitering.
Yeah.
Send all your tips to my PayPal account
Tips.
on
Tips.
hotmail.com.
Tips, Mckayla, tips. Oh, God. That's right. Send your tips to paypal.me/risingtidebkm. Anyway, if you pay me enough, I will not come back. Suddenly I hear PayPal. Ding, 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 ding.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Willow's Pillow Talk After Dark. Well,
Yes.
I gotta wake up early, so this is as after dark as we get.
Yeah.
If you can say the word platypus in the middle of something, I give you props because I can't. There's no way I could say that word.
Platypus.
Not during. Think about it.
If I think about it, I won't be able to do it.
If you are in the middle of a playground session, can you say the word platypus correctly? Come on now.
Probably not.
Okay, I might be challenged. Good point. I yield. Okay.
I mean, unless you don't go that way, that's fine. It's whatever.
I'm not about to tell anyone. Anyway.
Conventions are just one alcoholic, but wow. You have no idea how close to the truth that is.
It's true.
Mark,
And somewhere it's vodka.
how often have we been that, how often have we seen that at KeyCon?
That's all it takes. I mean, I got alcohol. I mean, let's.
Yeah, I could mute my camera for a minute, and I've got several bottles downstairs.
You've had too much to drink. Oh, this is me sober.
Yeah,
you don't want to see me drunk.
Yeah. The three of us don't have an excuse, Ryan. This is just natural behavior. Other than bad genetics and poor upbringing, we have no excuse.
I'm told when I'm drunk, it's a whole lot more fun, though.
The problem is with me.
When you get a bunch of perverted people together in one
And
room.
you said we could, so
Yeah, we got invited, people. So there.
Oh, is that what conventions are?
What? Yep.
Yes, that. Yes.
Yes. I have
buy
this
books
image.
on Amazon. Look us up on Amazon. Buy some books. Throw some money that way.
That's
Yes.
right. If you can't buy books, remember Amazon reviews, book reviews made less impossible. Your reward to reward the authors.
Right, we're supposed to be talking about writing.
Yeah, we are. And if you do this long enough, you get to work for other people. For instance, Quest for the Space Gods, edited by Jim Beard and John C. Bruning, with a story by me in there.
I have boobs. Buy my books.
She has boobs. Buy my books.
They fit in there too. So that tells you what size they are.
Interesting. Oh wow.
I've never figured that out, Brian. What is with that?
It isn't that I haven't figured it out. It's just that I haven't said it out loud.
Oh.
Out of respect.
Oh.
Oh, if only you people had been at Mckayla Con. It was a joyous event.
Wait, Mckayla Con?
We had
Oh, you
Mckayla.
didn't hear?
No.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
How-
Tell me about this.
Well, all the cons and crap were getting canceled. And we were all like, are you kidding? All we want to do is see our friends. All we want to do is get together. We're all healthy. We're all fine. There's got to be some place we can get together. And we started figuring out where everybody lived in relation to everybody else. And we said, well, shoot, Brian's like right in the middle of everything. Let's just meet in the town Brian lives in. And it'll just be some of us. And if there's a restaurant open somewhere, maybe we can get a big room and they'll let us hang out. And they did. And we just hung out for the weekend.
Oh.
So, but yeah, there wasn't many of us, but we did get together. And so now we're planning more quote unquote Mckayla cons.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've done a couple shows, and it was, at the last month or so, and like Mckayla said, the main goal was not to make money, not to expand our influence or anything. We just wanted to see our friends.
Yeah.
We missed it. And everybody's like 6 feet away, and then the minute the rest of us see each other, we're like, drawn to each other like a lodestone to a magnet. So it's right. You're not doing social distancing.
Yeah.
We're like, shut up.
Yeah. It's fine. I accept death. It's fine.
That's true. And I can say I got to hug Mckayla's cleavage. So hey,
Right. You can die happy.
Sell my clothes, Mom. Going to heaven. Anyway,
do they have naked people in heaven?
I'll let you know.
Probably.
No, wait, I'm probably not headed that way. So I'll have Cookie tell you.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at comments over here. I'm like, which one can she show?
Good luck with that. Ryan Permison, and I know I've butchered your last name, Ryan. I do apologize, but he said it's all good. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, brother.
What's tomorrow night?
I swear, Ryan, since we started broadcasting, me and Ryan have become like best friends, and we do the check-ins every day, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
You know what? I've done several shows with him, and speaking of, tomorrow night I'm actually going to be on Nerd Culture doing Battle of the Nerds. So I don't know who I'm up against tomorrow, and I don't know what the theme is. So watch me fail miserably.
And where can we see this,
I was
Willow?
going to say, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
There is a link. He posted it. Where did it go?
I saw him post something.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Would you mention our show now? What? No, that's not it.
All right. So it's nerd culture. You can actually see it on Hanging with Web TV, HWWS Web TV, on Facebook. You can also catch it on Ryan Permission's page. You can catch it on Nerd Culture's page. I'll post it. You'll find it.
Okay. Yeah.
Please do, and share that on my page if you would, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, both of you, please share that. I'd love, one of the things we do is we promote our peeps. And Ryan, I know you showed up on my shows, and I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely.
Illy versus Willow. Well, this is going to be interesting because Illy's from England, and I'm sure she knows a lot more than I do about different stuff.
Depends on the stuff.
So I can't wait to find out. I can't wait to find out what we're battling against. Like the theme. We don't know until the day of.
Oh wow!
Until we show up. So it can.
Sounds like fun.
Last week they did trivia on the Twilight Saga. 2 guys, and they had no freaking clue.
That'd be me.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Very cool.
So,
very cool.
I can't wait. This is my first time appearing on their show, so I've been actually bugging them for a while. Uh-oh. I have the topic.
Trivia. Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
You're hosting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
I went and did a trivia night with my sister-in-law because I know some things about some things, so that's a good idea. Let's go do trivia, right? Horrible idea. They were asking questions and my sister-in-law was like, how do you not know this shit? And I'm like, I know history and gargoyles and songs. That's what I know. And only songs. I can name every song and artist if it's country and if it's from the 90s. Other than that, I got nothing. No movie stuff, no actors, nothing. And I'm like, let's go do trivia night. That was
That's
dumb.
why you stack the deck and get a bunch of sci-fi nerds.
Right. Yeah. Like, where are my nerd friends? Oh, they don't live here. They live all over everywhere else.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, right? You should move to Illinois. I know, right?
Yeah, I fought to get out. Are you kidding?
One of our local conventions did a trivia night, and I stacked the deck because I'm like, I invited several people from my sci-fi group that I'm a part of, and I'm just like, yeah, you guys know all your shit, so let's do this.
Yes.
I'll just sit there and write the answers down.
Yeah, I did a show. I did a convention about 3 years ago, and one of my friends had done a version of Jeopardy with he had the lights and the buzzers and everything.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It was so much fun. But he and it was a bunch of us middle-aged nerds who had seemingly read nothing but comic books and watched TV all our lives. But
sounds like my kind of people.
Yeah, everyone I grew up with and still stay in touch with. But it's he purposely put in questions that he was certain no one knew, and it's this person was in early adventures of Adventure Comics Legion of Superheroes as a member of the Science Police, and up there going, "Ding, who is Dev M?" And he's like.
From out of nowhere, Brian wins the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I only lost because I bet everything because I figured I'd answered all the questions right. I had nothing more to lose. I'd made my point. So, but I did take the next year's trophy. Screw those people. I had something to prove the following year.
Here's a great
Hi, Magic Jake.
Question.
Favorite
nice to see
Marvel.
you, Jake. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Favorite Marvel movie?
The Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Is Wolverine Marvel?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, good. I have one. I don't know if it's Marvel or it's something else. I just know that I like it.
There you go.
Well, I think it's kind of obvious what mine is.
I was looking.
Yeah. I think there's a clue there. Yeah. Yeah. The current ones, I don't know that I've got a favorite. I like them all in varying degrees. So I'm going to stick with Roger Corman. You know, the one that had like a budget of like a $2.27.
I want to see a nerd battle between Christian and Brian.
That would be epic.
Like,
Oh,
That would
that's
be
nothing. That's nothing.
That'd be epic.
let's make that happen.
Do a Halloween thing like Battle of the Animal Things, like, and he didn't even know like the first episode of Doctor Who. Come on now, Christian, bring it.
Yeah,
It was the first episode, the first Doctor, and he's like, "What do you mean, Doctor Who battled a Cerberus?" I'm like, "How do you not know this?" So he had to go research it. Haha, Christian.
Uh-oh.
I was so proud of her. I
did my research, damn it.
You did a great job of that. I was
First of all, I had to figure out who Doctor Who was.
Yeah, well, there's that. But,
well, then they told me he was a Time Lord, and I was like, Lord of what? Excuse me?
Yeah, Lord of Time. So
now you're talking. Okay.
There we go. Well, it's like I remember the first time I saw an actual episode of Doctor Who. I'd seen like the Peter Cushing movies multiple times in my youth, but on TV. But I remember I was living in Newport, Rhode Island. We could pick up Boston's PBS station at the time, and it was like the second or third episode of Invasion of the Dinosaurs. And I'm like, they keep talking about this doctor. Who the hell is he? You know, which one is okay? The guy that's dressed better than anyone else. He must be the doctor. You know, finally figured out it was John Pertwee. I couldn't make head or tails out of the episode. So
I had to look up who Peter Cushing is. Sorry.
Oh no, Peter! No, he's worth looking. He's Grand Moff Tarkin from Star Wars: A New Hope.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He's scrolling through his pictures. I'm like, I know that dude.
Yeah,
that's why I do movies. I don't like. My friends and stuff can talk about like, oh, that person played in that movie of that, you know, and they played this. I got nothing. I'm just like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. He was also in a whole bunch of great horror films with Christopher Lee in the late 50s, early 60s, the classic Hammer films. Great stuff. And I can see I've made an impression anyway.
I'm sorry.
I got
there's stuff that I need to look up myself.
He was also in the first episode of The New Avengers, starring
I've seen that one, yeah.
Patrick McNee and Joanna Lumley before she was on AbFab, who was also a Bond girl. See, my head, I'm the guy you need to take to
trivia night
because I have so much useless information. She was in on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Nifty.
Yeah. And it also had Gareth Hunt, who was also in an episode of Doctor Who. In fact, it was Planet of the Spiders. But anyway.
Yeah, we need you for trivia night.
Yeah, I'm an essential part of it, just like a balanced breakfast.
The problem is they won't let me text you from trivia night. They're like, no, you can't use your phone. I'm like, but I can phone a friend.
This is
how it works?
Yeah, this is trivia night, not Anne Robinson, who was in an episode of Doctor Who. Anyway, she played Anne Droid.
Oh, funny. Ha ha ha. I got it.
Yeah, yep. Second to last episode of the Christopher Eccleston season. Not that I watched it a lot.
You sound like me with Dr. Quinn and Walker, Texas Ranger back in the day.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, those were my shows.
I hear you.
X-Men, Gargoyles.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah.
I was born in the 80s. So I got a chance to see Elvira, so I'm kind of knowledgeable a little bit about Elvira. I'm only a slight fan.
yeah, a slight fan.
I only dress up as her almost every chance I get.
Yeah, and I'm only a slight Doctor Who and Orko from the Masters of the Universe fan. I cosplayed as Orko.
Nice.
I've heard that rumor.
It is true. I'm the one that started it.
Oh no.
Oh, Lord.
I smell geek.
There's a smell to geek?
Yeah. We're going to bottle it. It'll be a new perfume from Fabergé.
There you go. There's a marketing thing.
Yeah, really. That's part of my merch line that we're working on. You can smell like geek. So
hey, there's nothing wrong with that smell. I actually find it attractive.
do tell, Willow. Do tell. Let's hear more about this. My friend ego demands it.
I'm more of the geeks. Like my sister-in-law, she's like, listen, you're not a geek, you're not a nerd. I'm like, but I am if your thing is history.
Yeah.
Because I can talk to about history to people and their face just goes blank. Like, okay, never mind. Yeah.
But I mean, like we all have our
seriously.
thing that we
this is my corner, damn it.
Right. It's your jam, girl.
Yeah.
I look at Winnipeg, like my own city, the history of my own city, and all the buildings. And there's days where I'll be pointing out little things and telling Joe all these little tidbits, and he goes, "How do you know this stuff?" I'm like, "I look it up."
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then there's Ryan, who we lovingly called the quote because he's always quoting movies.
Good for you, Ryan. Good for you.
And like we all like, there's nothing wrong with being a nerd. There's nothing wrong with being a geek. And
exactly.
I enjoy being around intelligent people because it's just my jam.
It's just better.
It is. It is.
Better conversations too.
Well, and that's one of my favorite shows is Beauty and the Beast by Disney.
Yeah.
And you know they came out with that live action crap. I mean movie.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Well, I got it thinking, okay, everyone's talking about how it's the same as the other one. They followed the script to the letter. It's good. It's really good. You should watch it. My kids were across the street at their grandma's house. Our windows were open, and I was watching the movie. I started yelling at the movie so loud they could hear it across the street. And it was things like her hair was parted on the wrong side. She sang the song in the wrong key. They didn't have that song in the original movie. This is not following the original movie. How dare they say that it's following the original movie? Right. And I was mad. I was screaming. I was throwing things. I'm like, that's not right. That's off key. Oh, it was bad. And they were like, it might help, Mom, if you hadn't watched Beauty and the Beast, the animated version, 1,000 times. Like, but I like it.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. The stage play is really good too. That's where I started growing the mutton chops. I think I've told the story. I did it in community theater. I played Maurice.
Oh,
and so and at one point, and it's one of those plays that community theaters put on because you get kids in. And they bring in grandma, the parents, all the relatives, and that's where the scratch comes in. Well, these kids, this is at the time when texting and smartphones were coming in, and so the minute the rehearsal ends, they've got the thing pressed to their noses. And I was talking to the director one night, and she was saying, "I'm going to have to cut Kill the Beast." I'm like, "No, it's pivotal. You've got to keep that one. Why?" And she goes, "The kids just aren't getting it. I'm going to have to cut it." I said, "No, you can't do that because then my character is affected." And she's like, "How?" I said, "Look at it this way. Maurice, okay? Maurice starts out as comic relief. And then he loses the invention that's going to save his only daughter from the provincial life. He's attacked by wolves. He walks through the scary forest, winds up in the even scarier mansion where he is befriended by the furniture. And then he's attacked by the owner, who happens to be a ravening monster, thrown into the dungeon where he gets pneumonia, is on the verge of death, and his freedom is only bought by his only daughter exchanging hers for his. So when he goes back to town, the townspeople laugh at him. I said, "No, by the end of Act 1, Maurice is not comic relief. He's a freaking serial killer in the making." And she goes, "Play him like that."
Well, he is, if you really look at the story.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought of it that way.
Yeah, and so I gave him a good case of PTSD. So when he's reunited with her after a point, I'm standing out there instead of Maurice just going looking happy. Oh, I'm going to see Belle. I'm out there shivering, and she touches me. I'm like, the audience is like. They're absolutely horrified by all the research I put into this, and it was the most fun I've had in ages. It was a great time. Oh, but I figured, everybody's seen the movie. Let's give them something different, which obviously doesn't. Well, we never claimed to be the original. See that? So I'm getting your point there, Mckayla.
Yeah, don't claim that you follow the script exactly if you don't follow the script exactly.
Exactly.
Damn it. I was a little upset.
Kind of like their the recent adaptation of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, I heard about that one. I couldn't bring myself to watch that.
Well, and didn't they do a Harry Potter movie that didn't follow the book?
Maybe
I don't follow Harry Potter.
I'm honest here. I never read the books.
I haven't either. Don't feel bad. I can't get into it.
But I cashed out on the movies about halfway through. So
yeah, a friend of mine was deep into the books, and of course the movies come out. She's got to go see all the movies, and there was one of them that she was like, no, it didn't follow the book at all. It wasn't correct. They cut out everything that's important. Like, oh shit, okay, I get it.
I just saved $10. I don't have to buy the DVD now. Good, thank you.
I like, as much as I like the Harry Potter world, I don't know if I could support it right now, like with the way J.K. Rowling has gone. Yeah. Speaking of, how do you guys feel about all that? About her purposely alienating her fans?
That's career suicide. I don't get it. I mean, like, I even try to keep my Facebook page political free. I stumble sometimes, but I try, because my views are my views. They have nothing to do with what I write. Nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree with that completely. Back in 2016, I was being fair and balanced. There's a phrase we don't hear often. And I would, if I would post something against the politicians, because I'm thoroughly disgusted with how our government is run, and have been for decades. This is nothing recent. And if I posted something that was anti-Trump, I also made sure I posted something that was anti-Hillary or anti-whoever else was running in the primaries. And I even went after the Green Party, Jill Stein. I even went after Dave Johnson for the Libertarians, who I make no secret of the fact I'm a libertarian, but I don't tell anyone who I vote for the most part. But the thing is, you say, okay, I am against Trump, and half your audience is going, yeah, you go, Brian. And then when you say you're against Hillary, they're like, but you were doing so well. What happened? Well, we're against you now. And so the thing is, with the culture we have now, you can't really, you can share your opinions, but for most of us, it does us no good to share our opinions on a lot of subjects now, because there is such immediate backlash. And, J.K. Rowling, especially, who has created such an amazing world and has come so far from her origins, before the first book was published. And, I'm astonished she has those views, to be honest, because they're, it just doesn't seem to reflect in her writing. But it's just a good case of, the cancel culture. And, you don't dare voice your true opinion on things for fear of reprisal. And I'm not out to really alienate my audience per se. I want them to enjoy what I do, and I don't want it colored by their potential disagreement with certain opinions I might have. And it doesn't matter whether you are either conservative or liberal, or you are pro something, or you are against something anymore. You could wind up getting somebody getting in your face about it.
Yeah.
So it's I don't want to say it could be career suicide potentially, but I've learned to just keep my opinions to myself, because I don't need to start any more fights.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, there's a way to be diplomatic with it. Believe what you want to believe, but there's a way of being diplomatic about it with your fans, to make sure that you're not viewed as, you know, a douchebag.
Well, yeah, and look at somebody like, say, President Obama. When he first took office, he was somewhat vocal about the fact that he did not support gay marriage at that time. But a few years later, he reversed his position.
Yeah.
And I've changed my opinion on a number of things, but unfortunately, people now look for that first time when you weren't as enlightened, you weren't quite as smart as you are now. And, unfortunately, the idea of forgiveness doesn't, occur to some people, especially the people who probably could use it the most. If J.K. Rowling had come out and said, listen, I've heard you guys and you've opened my eyes.
Right.
If she would, I don't want to say create some sort of act of absolution. But, you talk about trivia. Back in the 70s, Elvis Costello got drunk one night and made some racially insensitive remarks about Ray Charles. And he got hammered on the fact that he did that. And ever since that night, he has worked heavily for the organization Rock Against Racism. He realized that, I said something stupid. I shouldn't have even had that thought. And now I'm going to make up for it. So, I think that's a possible way out for J.K. Rowling. And for the rest of us, it's just simply, it's nobody's business what we think about certain sensitive subjects.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, our readers don't care. The ones that only know us as an author, they don't care. Because as much as I like Christine Feehan or Neil Gaiman, I don't care about his political views. I care about what they put out as far as writing, because I want to read that story. And then if they give advice, I'll take it. I may not use it, but I want to hear it. I don't want to hear who they voted for. I don't care.
Yeah, and there's been enough writers that it doesn't come out unless they do it in their Twitter feed, which is understandably different than what they're putting out between covers of a book. Yeah. Good point, Mckayla.
Neil Gaiman has like a very blunt, direct approach when it comes to his advice. Yeah. And I love it. Brian, you posted up one of his things that he said to a fan.
Yeah.
And
probably a former fan now.
But it's true, though.
Very true, yeah.
If you don't write, who's to say that the next person who won't take your place?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There, Neil made it. For those of you who don't know, is a guy that Neil was doing one of those Ask Me Anything things on Tumblr, I think it was, and somebody said, "Well, I'm kind of lazy and disorganized. Why can't I get any success in writing?" He said, "Well, because you're lazy and disorganized. If you can't get your act together, there's only even with self-publishing, there's only so many spots at the table." And if he's gonna sit out and let other people go for the golden ring, then that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and you could even view it as maybe there's room at the table. You just got to make room. You got to get your own damn chair and pull it up to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll make room. Like you were talking about our network. We do. Come on in, join the party, but you're gonna have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We can't lead you through it. You're not a toddler. We're not gonna wipe your butt. But there's room. You just got to do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Me, a year ago, I was humming and hawing about starting up a podcast. And I'm like, I want to interview people. I want to interview celebrities. I go to conventions. Why not? But then it's like I became kind of afraid to even ask a celebrity if I can ask them a bunch of questions until FanQuest came around. And I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I grabbed my mic. And I'm like, I'm gonna ask. So I did my first 10-minute interview with a celebrity, and that set the pace for my podcast. And
that's great.
A year later, pandemic comes, and I'm just like, well, shit, I have nothing to do. I'm off work. Let's do something. Let's do something.
And that's creative. The difference between you and us and the ones that will not succeed is because they went, oh no, there's a pandemic. I can't do anything. Bullshit. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
There is so much you can do. So, okay, maybe you can't go to a con. You can't go to a book signing. There are many, many things you can do, whether it's you get your backstock going, whether it's you network with somebody new to find out something new that you didn't know or you need help on. There's so many things you can be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say, well, there's no opportunities out there now. Then create it.
Yeah.
Create the opportunity. So that's what Mckayla and I and our network have done. We didn't look at this and say, okay, I guess we take a 8-month vacation. No, we said, okay, we just got to figure out another way to do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question here. Do you guys think someone becoming more and more vocal with political views makes a fan become less interested? See, you know what? It really depends on, like, when it comes to, for me, I do not disrespect anybody who has a political view unless, of course, they actually believe in the rhetoric that is being tossed out by one of the people. I am a firm believer of human rights, and if you're gonna try to push your beliefs on other people and ruin their lives because you're against something that they do, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to try to turn you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Trump, yes, I'm really vocal when it comes to him because of the fact that I cannot support what he puts out. I don't know how you guys feel, but I try very hard not to get into fights over the internet with people because human rights is a huge thing for me.
I agree.
And if you honestly are gonna tell me that I shouldn't love someone because of the color of their skin or where they come from, I will show you the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to admit that that is a fantastic question. I think what a lot of people forget is that yes, we do have the right to, speak, especially here in America. But that does it. But one thing we need to remember also is that it is not an absolute right. For instance, you cannot indulge in hate speech. You cannot yell fire in a crowded theater when there is no fire.
Mm-hmm.
There are limits. You cannot slander or libel someone. There's also, you have the right to free speech, but no one has the right to the absence of consequence, which is why it is very important to think about what you're saying and think about what your message is. And and there are some writers like Stephen King is very vocal about his political beliefs. Same with Neil Gaiman is very vocal about his. And it isn't that they are in such a position that they are untouchable, that they are above criticism. Look at J.K. Rowling. She is at that plateau, but look at how she's having to navigate the waters of infamy right now. So, it is positive. It is, you do risk when you say something that is potentially triggerable.
Yeah.
It could affect your career. It could affect the number of readers or followers that you have. But then again, if you come out and say the earth is, your chances are you're going to wind up offending somebody. You can say the earth is round and then all of a sudden the flat earther is going, hey, you stupid SOB, how dare you say that? We're in a dome, damn it. It's sometimes better to not share your more controversial views with anyone. In fact, JK, I really wish you'd called me before you started spouting off. Really, I could have told you. Which is why I don't do a lot on Twitter, pretty much, because that's that is a flaming dumpster fire.
Oh my God.
Most
That's
of the
what I've
time.
heard. I haven't even gotten a Twitter account because of that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
The bullying that goes on online, and Twitter is a cesspool of bullying. I've even learned to just kind of stick with Instagram and Facebook and my YouTube page once in a while, whenever I get around to updating it.
I'm right there with you. I'm
I
right
hear
there
you.
with you.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm probably on Facebook more than anything, but mostly because of my broadcasting.
Yeah.
But like right now with what's going on, the year of the election, which started like 2 days ago, the last 2 days I've limited myself to like 3 sessions on Facebook every day, no longer than 15 minutes, unless I'm conducting business. Because especially if you're even halfway empathic, that that can affect you. That just seeing the stupid. And I even posted a couple days ago that I don't want to see it even from people I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
nobody's
everybody's just so tired of it.
Yeah.
Everybody is at that point where they're like, just grow up, just move on. What happened to the days of, okay, you believe that way, I don't believe that way, but I can go on with my life and it's fine.
Yeah.
Grow the hell up. Yeah.
Exactly. And really, I don't think me saying I am for or against something is going to be the catalyst for somebody to go, oh my God, he's right.
Right. Or oh my God, we can't be friends.
Yeah, which is more likely to happen than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't be friends with somebody that disagrees with you. Since when?
Yeah. Me and my husband, we disagree on a lot of stuff. We've had multiple discussions.
Yeah. Well, in any relationship you do. I don't care if it's your best friend, your husband, your wife, whatever. If you're in a relationship, that's what it is. It's give and take. Nobody's going to agree on everything all the time.
No. Yeah. Like our political views don't match up on a constant basis. And hey, he's free to vote for whoever he wants to vote for. I'm free to vote for whoever I want to vote for. I may lean a little more liberal, and he may lean a little bit more somewhere in the middle. But in the end, I still love him.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Well, and that's an adult relationship.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm on like my social media pages. I don't really, unless it's hate speech or something that's just so freaking out there. But I've got friends who are flat earthers. I've got friends who are don't worship the same God I do. Don't worship any God at all. But as long as we can agree to disagree, we're going to be fine. But if you get on there and start spouting stuff from the NAMBLA handbook, I'm not going to drop you. I'm going to block you and don't speak to me in public, sort of thing. I had somebody try to be my friend recently. It was very curious. It was like something about I want to see who you're friends with, and I hope they have a young daughter I can be good friends with. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
Don't think we are blocked.
Creep level 10.
Yeah. If you make my stomach do Immelmans, then you're beyond the pale, and I can tolerate a lot. But no, a lot of people have lost the capacity for discussion, for talking things out, and like I said, agreeing to disagree. I've not really taken anyone off my social media just simply because they've disagreed with me. How they disagree with me is another matter.
That's a friend of mine. She will say, she'll post something and she knows it's probably going to get people that don't like it. And she says, my wall, my opinion, if you want to discuss it, bring facts, not emotions.
Yep.
And she's like, and we'll discuss it all day.
Yeah. And I've taken to something that a couple of my friends do, that where if I'm posting something that is potentially flammable, I will say that, here are the guidelines that we will discuss this by if you're willing. And if you're not willing, shut up. I don't want to hear it. Don't, you're not adding to the conversation. And if you post something along these lines, you stand a good chance of not just getting your comment cut, but you cut as well.
Yeah.
And I've gone public with a lot of my stands. I'm with you, Willow. I'm huge on human rights. I think we all ought to be. I don't care who you smooch or why, but it's like, I've had people say, well, we can't be friends because you disagreed with me on this, this very important subject. And I'm like, well, I guess we were never friends in the first place. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
So, there are ways we can take a stand, but nothing says I feel no need to beat a drum about it.
Yeah.
Ryan's got a comment down here. I thought we were here to talk about books, not politics. But that's the thing.
Yeah, this is related.
Friend of mine, she writes historical Western romance, but her heroes were officers in the Civil War. Now you think, okay, so what? You would not believe the backlash she has gotten for her heroes being rebel soldiers. Yeah. If they were Union soldiers, it would have been okay. But because they were rebel soldiers, she's getting backlash for it. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? It's a fiction romance book. And she gets backlash for these heroes. It's like, it's a story. Let it go.
Yeah, and it's not like some of this stuff, the situations did not happen, It's
right,
like,
and that's the other thing. It's like she's not telling you how she thinks it should be.
Right.
She's telling you how it was. Mm-hmm. But a lot of authors now and even publishers aren't publishing it because there might be backlash and they can't take that chance.
Right. Well, right now I'm writing something that deals with people of color. But
there are people that would say you can't because you're not colored.
Right, and this means I can't talk about anybody who, aside from overweight, bald males in their 60s, which I think is malarkey.
Yeah.
That would be like me saying I can't write what I write because I didn't live in that time.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
See, here's the weird thing. Like, people tend to fall, like, I know in your time, Brian, that a lot of views were very bordering on the racist.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, and then they toss in the excuse of, well, it's the time I was born in. And it's like, I'm sorry. You have proven that people can move past that and grow up and progress.
Yeah. No, this is a very good point, Willow. I grew up in a small East Illinois community where in the town square, the only traffic light in town at the time, where people would put up like garage sale signs and things like that, bake sale signs. When I was growing up, there was regularly a sign pointing to the KKK rally that happened once a month. And there was a lot of bigotry I was surrounded with. I never bought into that. But, fortunately, my parents never instilled that in me. But, this is, there are people I knew who had bought into the whole, we're superior to any other minority sort of thing, but they've come around. Yeah. And I've had some views that, now I would find abominable. But once you get smarter, once you educate yourself and you realize that, pretty much we're all people, we have the same genetic base and everything, and treating each other with respect and kindness is the way to go, not to hate them, because, in the end, that's, the things that trigger some people on the wrong side of history, are views that really we are not worth having. That we need to go, like you said, we need to move past them. By the same token, like right now, my mentioning Gone with the Wind probably cost me, who knows how many people. Oh my God, he read Gone with the Wind. He obviously supports slavery, sort of thing. No, it's not a pro-slavery book, for one thing. I think that things like that are useful because they create the dialogue that we need to have. It's the dialogues I've had that, they're uncomfortable as hell.
Yeah.
But that's how I grew to understand how other people feel. And yeah, we can put an apology on it. In fact, we probably should.
Yeah.
Because we have, although we've still got a far way to go as far as enlightenment goes towards other people, we've come a long way in my lifetime. I mean, I grew up in an era where some parts of the country had separate restrooms and water fountains for people of color. My town didn't go that far, but I started becoming aware of the world at the cusp of the civil rights movement. So that's kind of like my gateway into a better way of thinking. But some people just won't go past that, and that's where we have to be careful about how we express our opinions. And we probably should have always been really a little more sensitive, a little more caring about. But like I said, I'm writing a book about that the whole. It's going to hinge on how people of color are treated. There was a book that was released a year or two ago. I cannot remember the author's name, but she wrote about I want to say a Spanish community or Hispanic community. And of course, there were people going, well, this is a white woman. She cannot write about our culture. It's cultural appropriation. She doesn't know our suffering, etc. But people were saying, no, wait, she did the research. She got it right.
Yeah.
And that's why, I agree with Mckayla that, the messenger isn't quite as important as the message, as long as the message is delivered properly.
Yeah.
And, if you have an empathy for some, other demographic, we'll call it, and you can convey it in a sympathetic manner that might open someone else's eyes, or just remind them, hey, listen, we've come from these days. We need to reach a higher plateau now, the way we treat each other. Maybe I'm not the best person to write this particular story, but then again, no one came up with it before me. And I'm willing to do it right. So that's where I stand on the issue. So,
and like I grew up in like the Bible Belt of Manitoba, and like I went to church, I read the Bible, and what got me was the amount of hatred that would spew from a lot of the Christians that lived in it. And I still struggle a little bit with faith and Christianity and what it actually means. But but what I've taken from reading the Bible is loving everyone for who they are, and learning from them.
Right.
And that to me is the true meaning of Christianity, is being able to sit, have dinner, and break bread with your fellow man.
Right.
Regardless of sexual orientation, color, who they like. And there are some people who can't seem to get past that. And it boggles my mind how some people can call themselves Christians, but not follow the actual true representation of the Bible. And
until I was older, that's all I knew. I knew the hypocritical Christians.
Yeah.
Until I was in my late 30s, I didn't meet anyone that was any different than that. They were all hypocritical Christians. They preach and preach and preach, and then they go out and about, and it's like, wait a minute, wait. You just said love everybody, but you don't love them because of their skin color? You don't love them because they're gay? What? Wait a minute. But it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I met anyone that claimed to be a Christian that didn't think that way.
Yeah.
That, like you said, that boggles my mind. How is that possible? Did you read the same book I read?
And we're taught in school and in church that, treat others as you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that got stuck in my head throughout my whole childhood. And then I'm just like, and listening to even stuff from my own foster mom, I'm just like, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I got. I was like, nope, forget it. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't. And so for a long time, I didn't. I just wouldn't listen.
Yeah, same with me. I grew up in a church. I attended for 10 years. I left when they complained about the length of my hair. We had a sin of the week pretty much every week for 10 years, and they never repeated themselves. It's like you couldn't do anything.
Was your skirt too short too?
Yeah, my skirt was way too short. You know,
yeah,
and
show them ankles.
That's right, by God. That's right, by God. Morris, you slut. Anyway, but yeah, it's like I had long hair. I was the only hippie in my county. You know, my hair was too long. I didn't think the way everyone else did, and it was. I was like Mckayla. I grew up in that environment and never really attended church again until I got engaged. Actually, and I'm like, wait a minute, these people are happy. They're having fun.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, one of them just took a drink. What the hell? You know, it's like, hey, that guy just lit up a pack of cigarettes. Holy cow! Hey, he dyes. She dyes her hair. Oh my God, she's going to hell. But that's sort of.
They play bingo.
Oh
They play bingo.
Oh
That's gambling. You can't play bingo.
Church said you shouldn't even get the newspaper on Sunday because you were forcing someone to break the Sabbath to deliver it to you.
What? Oh my God.
I swear. In fact, I do swear. That's another thing I do. But yeah, it's like
a crazy world we live in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm like you. I'm still dealing with a lot of that debris back then. I know consciously it's wrong. A lot of that is just total bullshit. But by the same token, the knee-jerk reaction and that stuff just comes to the fore because that's your background, that's your training.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but you have to work past it. Yeah. And I'm aware of that. So, and I've changed my view on a lot of things, but mostly when I was younger, I was just parroting what others were saying in my environment. And once I got out of that and started like seeing real people,
like I guess I really shouldn't say this, but yes, I am a product of my environment, and like I don't have the traditional mom and dad family life. I was raised in foster care for a good reason. My mom is an alcoholic, and she used to be a stripper and a prostitute. Like,
that'd be a good reason.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live my life ashamed of who I am anymore.
Right.
This is me.
Yeah, sure. You shouldn't be. You didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, and if people can't accept me for the way I grew up, which is really stupid, then you can't accept me for who I am now.
Yeah.
Agreed. Very wise. Very wise.
And I think that's where I'm going to end the show. It was an awesome show with hanging out with you guys.
It's been fun.
I appreciate this.
Total fun.
Tell me, Mckayla, where can we find you on the internet?
I'm like a good hooker. I'm everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo. You can find it at Walmart.com. Yeah, everywhere. So wherever you shop for books, you can find Warrior Secret and the Linnea Fletcher book, Obsidian Hearts. So look me up.
Okay.
Brian, time to whore yourself out.
Yes.
Hold my beer. Anyway, I'm on most social platforms. I'm primarily on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram. Don't look for me on LinkedIn. I don't do a damn thing there. Anyway, I have a number of books, contemporary fantasy, pulp, horror, humor, and Sandstein's my big seller. Find out why. Plus, I write for other people. Available on Amazon and Smashwords. Also, I am a broadcaster. I'm on Facebook 3 times a week in the mornings with Nevermind the Furthermore interactive discussion show. Next episode will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. And then Clever Title Pending, the Tuesday night special interview show where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. We are booked until virtually the end of the year. We have that many cool people that are going to be on the show. So please tune in every Tuesday night. This coming Tuesday, we're going to have new pulp authors, Jim Beard and Bobby Nash, who are totally awesome. I love you, honey. And my wife has just come home because she's probably heard me spouting off. Everyone loves you, honey.
Well, Cookie's home, guys.
Yep, it's time to go.
Well, you guys can have fun, but me, it's like
my husband's already in bed. Are you kidding me?
I gotta cook dinner for my husband soon. He's gonna be home.
and I gotta cook dinner for the missus. So
the glamorous life we live as authors. Yes.
I know this La Vida Loca. That's us, kids.
Yeah.
I'm the modern version of the honeymooners. My husband's a bus driver, so, and I work in a cafe. So weird.
There you go.
Well, you don't work in a sewer, so you're better than Art Carney. So.
So you guys have a great night. I appreciate you very much. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Night, everyone.